tell me and I forget, show me and I may remember, involve me and I learn.
So I'm Brother Ridwan, the principal of Al-Hidayah Islamic School, and I'm very happy to be sitting here with Sister Farida, who's our Year 2 teacher, and Sister Supriya, pre-primary teacher, and Sister Joanna, our Year 1 teacher, because we would like to talk with you a little bit about learning through investigation. And it's something that we've been implementing since the beginning of this year, Term 2. And what I've noticed is, and I feel it myself, I feel a lot of enthusiasm about this project of learning through investigation. And I see it in our teachers, the three of you. I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about what enthuses you about learning through investigation.
Just to see children engaged and not so much in kind of a play way.
When the kids are excited, like you said, they're more engaged, so they tend to retain more of that information as well. It's not so much just a matter of let's sit and memorize. They're learning in context, so it actually they are being able to retain the information more and apply it to everyday situations.
Yes, and I think to give them the hands-on experience in their learnings helps a lot. They love to engage in all of different types of hands-on activities, and when we give them the concrete and different setup in the classroom and get them to be involved in those kind of activities, they enjoy their learning and they really love it.
So it's kind of, if you observe a child playing, just not in classroom, just playing outside at the park or wherever with other kids, they are so serious about whatever they're doing, whether they're playing with dolls or they're playing in the sandpit with cups and plates and what have you. They're really serious in practicing what they're doing. So if they're learning so much through their play, why not then our learning or teaching be set in that kind of a situation?
One of the things that hits me about this learning through investigations is that it caters for the whole range of children, from children who are gifted and want extension to children who need support. And now, could you address that? Because I see that when I come into your classes, that it's satisfying a great diversity.
Childhood is a journey, it's not a race, so we have to give them enough time for them to learn, to investigate and to explore and to play as well.
And it also allows those kids who are not your typical book learners, I guess you could say. So you're catering to those multiple intelligences, you're catering to the different ways that children learn. So not all children are able to learn just through paper and pencil. It gives those students the opportunity to shine as well when we do learning through investigation.
Yes.
Previously we had one, like an outcome or an achievement that we had set for all the students, and then there are many that couldn't achieve, but now they are engaged and investigating, creating and remaking, and all at their own individual levels. It is not about the end product but more the process now. So we really want children to enjoy the process and to learn from that. We're not looking at what they have created by the end of it.
Yes, they take the ownership of their learning to reach their goals.
Your classrooms look completely different to what they looked like at the beginning of Term 1 this year. Do you want to just talk a bit about that? Because I find it so fantastic to come into your classrooms.
So we've moved from, I think, the
Traditional.
the what do you call it? I want to say something. The very starchy way of doing things, and it's structured.
I call it the old school way.
Old school way. Really structured and formal, and we've moved to the informal and relaxed. And so everyone's relaxed. I think the children are relaxed, we are relaxed, and the atmosphere is much, much better.
And we've got camping tables for those that want to sit lower to the ground. You've got your normal tables, and you've also got to give children the opportunity to stand, those ones who can't sit still. And I find that the kids are much more on task and engaged when there's that flexible seating option there. And they get so excited about
Yeah.
coming into the classroom and
Yes.
and doing different things.
Yes.
Lovely.
So we could say that the classroom environment is a third teacher,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
That's what we have to set the learning
Definitely.
centers.
Yes.
And all our learning centers are linked to
Yeah.
Western Australian curriculum and
Yeah.
early year learning framework.
Yeah, and everything is set out with a purpose. Everything we put out in the learning centres are not just there so that the kids can play with it. It's all done with a purpose. It's all linked to our learning intentions. So that, and like Sister Supriya said, it all links back to the curriculum. So there's a purpose for everything that we put out, from the tiniest pebble to the biggest object that we have on the table. It's all linked.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, the curriculum informs whatever we are doing. We look at the curriculum first and see how we could set up an environment with good materials, preferably the natural materials, and set up that environment where children can experiment there. But literacy and numeracy is across everything. Everything.
Yeah.
And it's not only those centers or times when they are doing the investigation work. We also have the explicit teaching specifically for literacy and numeracy to cover the curriculum.
Can one of you could talk about the importance of this way of learning for the children's brain development at this stage in their lives?
So that's probably the thing that fascinated me the most coming into early childhood. The fact that most of the significant wiring in the brain happens in the early years.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of research done on child development and their brain development, and research has shown that these learning experiences, these hands-on learning experiences, actually help the different neurons in the brain connect together and map out better. So in the long run, actually helps them to develop further
Yes.
as they get older.
Yeah, because the neurobiology now is able to look into the brain, a living brain of a child and also an adult. And here they are finding that, so what they are seeing is how the brain works, how it acts and reacts to different things. And this has informed a lot of the research. The brain is the only organ of the body that is not fully developed when a child is born. So it's those first 3 years that are crucial, and then up to 7 years we can do a lot to develop the brain. So it's looking at a caring, loving, supportive, and I think trusting environment where children will prosper the most in.
When children learn something within a context, that is, it makes sense, that's when the brain connects. And that connection lasts throughout life.
Forever.
You know, and that's powerful.
Yes.
So, and this is what learning through investigation is aiming to do with each child.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all the experiences they get is what makes the connections between the neurons. So it's really important they get really good, solid experiences with good care and physical movement, what was it? Emotional, physical.
So it's based on
and the
movement,
cognitive.
emotion, and cognitive. So those are the three major influences on the child's brain.
Yeah.
And if they don't get those learning experiences to connect the neurons, then what happens is they tend to die off.
They tend to die off.
Like the dead branches on a tree. So
Yeah.
if we don't nourish the tree and nurture it, the tree branches start to die, and then ultimately it affects the whole tree. So similar to the brain as well.
Yes.
But once that connection's made,
Yeah.
then it's there.
Then it's
That's
there
there.
for always.
Yes.
And you can always build on it.
You build,
Yes.
that's it. But if they don't connect it, they
Then
die.
no. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why I think for me this is such a meaningful, purposeful project to bringing in learning through investigation. And finally, could you just say again, Sister Farida, what you said before about how children learn, those different steps?
Tell me and I forget, show me and I may remember, involve me and I learn. And this learning through investigation is exactly what we are doing, involving the children every step of the way in their learning.
What I suggest is that there'll be some upcoming videos, one from Sister Supriya where you'll see learning through investigation in the pre-primary school, then another video with Sister Joanna in Year 1, and you'll see what learning investigation looks like in a Year 1 classroom, and the third video will be with Sister Farida in Year 2. And I think what you'll see there is that how learning through investigation is in pre-primary is quite different to how it looks in Year 2. And that's beautiful. That's one of the things I love about this teaching and learning process. So I hope you've enjoyed this video with us today.
Yeah.
I thank the sisters for sitting down with me and sharing their enthusiasm about it. And I hope you enjoy the upcoming videos also about learning through investigation at Al-Hidayah Islamic School.